Hey guys, Banana Luck here, back with another Watcher of Realms video, and as you can see, we are on the test server today with the launch of another new unit. So we've been hearing about the Painter and Paintress for quite some time, and finally they are here. And in this video, we are going to be taking a closer look at Rosalia, which is created by Pia, apparently. Like if you read their lore, it says that Pia actually created Rosalia out of his own imagination. So Rosalia is a fighter mage, quite unusual because we don't usually get those. We have like Uridin, I think. What was the other fighter? Cerberus. And then we also have like Cyrene, so on and so forth. We don't get many of these units, obviously. So yeah, Rosalia is a fighter, 4.7k attack, and you can see he has a very weird range. This is not a display bug. It is literally 3 tiles and then with gaps in between them. So 4.7k, it's not the highest, if I can be honest, but it is also not too shabby. And we also have, once again, the whopping 10 seconds attack interval. It looks like after they released Dracula, they felt that this 10-second attack interval thing could work out. To be fair, when you see this interval, then you're gonna start thinking, does she have an insane wacky ultimate like Count Dracula, or does she have multipliers that just go crazy? So let's get into that without further ado. Now, talent. Enemies entering a painted tile immediately take 300% AoE damage once and are inflicted with a 25% magic resistance reduction. This damage has an 8-second cooldown. The magic resistance reduction does last for 10 seconds, which gives it a 100% uptime. And then when casting the ultimate, immediately resets this cooldown for all enemies and reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds during the ultimate, which means that they can repeatedly take the 300% damage if, let's say, they walk onto the painted tiles again. Now, first passive, which is the attack, paints a row of tiles in the range with a random color for 20 seconds. So red does burning for 5 seconds for any enemies in range. Yellow increases the caster's damage against the enemy in range by 20%, so it's a self boost. And then blue inflicts 1 stack of Winter's Bite on enemies in range for every 2 seconds. And bear in mind that she probably has some slow in her kit as well, so it's going to be rather interesting how all this blend out together. And also the tile placement is very interesting. I wonder how they'll work out. And there's going to be a ton of RNG here as well, depending on what color is painted. Now, first passive, when enemies enter a tile of the same color, they take an extra hit of the 300% AoE damage and are inflicted with the immobilized state for 2 seconds. So, wow, even more damage and also some stun in the kit. So, Rosalia is really looking pretty good at the moment with just the amount of control that she can probably dish out. And then last passive, when the hero kills an enemy, increases attack by 10% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 3 stacks obviously here. So yeah, I think that's all gonna ramp up pretty nicely, especially with that base attack that is on the lower side of things. And then the bond skill, or here the painter, to unlock the following bonus effect. When Rosalia dies or retreats, grants rage regen to adjacent allies, so kind of similar to what we have on Laurel. 2% rage per second for 10 seconds, so you get 20% rage out of all this. Now, ultimate. When the ultimate is activated, you can see the range increases. It's all the way to a 6x3 tile range. Each basic attack deals 800% AoE damage up to 12 enemies and knocks back the target that are closer to the caster. So if let's say they're close by, they'll get knocked back. Each attack also paints tile within the attack range with a random color. During the ultimate, reduces damage to the caster by 50%. That's rather odd. But this is 25 seconds with a 10-second interval. We're guessing that we can get up to 5 of these big hits coming out, so pretty interesting. And do take note as well, she has no initial rage, so that's rather unusual. And 900 rage is pretty high, but look at the multipliers, 800% AoE damage. So this unit is probably going to be quite annoying in content like I think GVG, just for starters. You can see the Winter's Bite happening. We also have the knockback. We also have the immobilize over here as well as the Winter's Bite. Unfortunately, no slow in the kit for some reason. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Alright, now we move on to the artifact Pinterest Brush. There we go, that's the slow. Increases AoE damage by 20%. I think it's going to be 30 at max level. Painted Tiles inflict 50% slow on enemies and takes effect only when, okay, that's the usual text that we get. So yeah, that's where the slow in her kit is. So she technically has all the crowd control effects now with Winter's Bite, with slow, with immobilize as well. I think that's pretty much all that we could ask for. So very interesting unit. It is also another one of those units where ultimate is where most of the damage is done. Though to be fair, whenever they enter a painted tile, they do take quite a big chunk of damage as well. So it will be interesting to see how annoying the RNG is, especially from the attacker's perspective as well. Like when you're using her, whether this can dish out, consistent enough amounts of damage. Now, onto Awakening. A1. When deployed, immediately grants 100% reach and increases damage by 20% for the first 20 seconds. That's interesting. Why only 20 seconds? It might have to do with the redeployment thing, because with her bond you can redeploy her. And then A2, 300 attack. That's nice. Brings it up to 5k. And then A3, tiles in the front 2 rows continuously deal 30% AoE damage to enemies in range. So that's good. That's essentially some sort of consistent damage that she'll always get. And then A4 is going to be penetration, and then A5 reduces redeployment time by 50%. Each deployment permanently increases damage by 5% up to 15. So I think that goes in line with the A1, especially with the 20% damage increase. And I do wonder where this will come in handy. Like, could we be potentially seeing her used at A5 in Matrix to this extent? Because the current strategy is that after the boss goes down, we don't actually after the down phase, we don't actually use any ultimates. So if during that span of time, if you can despawn Rosalia and bring her back in time with the ultimate off fully up at A1, I think it could be pretty neat. But I don't know. I don't know if that will work well. We'll have to actually test it out to see it in full effect. But very interesting unit. Once again, we're getting units that are looking pretty similar to the likes of Lady Mina or Vlad Dracula, where Count Dracula as well, where their mechanics are a bit unusual. But I'm all for it, because that's what makes the game fun. With unusual mechanics like this, where to explore where these heroes can be used. Pier as well, if you've seen my other video, is very interesting as well. So yeah, let's get into the testing. Obviously, we're going to use this chick in Matrix, as well as Gear Rate 1. We're going to see as well if she does any good in Maurix as well. But I doubt she's going to be meta in Arena, because she doesn't actually have any Arena buff like Pier does, because she is not part cultist, or sorry, she's not part chaotic or arbiter faction. So yeah, let's get into the test without further ado. Enjoy. Alright, the first area we're going to test out both of these guys in is going to be in Gear Rate 1, because this is where most AoE units go to when we want to just get a baseline to see where they stand. And obviously we're going to put in the two powerhouses, Valara as well as Azeroth, to see how they stack up against them. But let's get into it without further ado. Alright, so we weren't able to squeeze Verlis because of the 8 slot limit. This is what we've managed to pull through, so let's see. I'm gonna do Pierre first, Beelzebub, Lara, and then after this we can start to put in the rest of the units. The reason why we can't squeeze in too many units here as well is because we have to put Priest Match down. He cannot be healed, so you have to put him on the back lines to use him to great effect. I'm gonna do Rosalia here. And once all these guys are in, we're gonna put Priest Match. I'm gonna do Inspiration first. Then put Priest Match down. Let's see how he does here. I'm also gonna put Azeroth down here. Yeah, let's just wait now. Now, Priest Match doesn't get consumed by Azeroth, but the... I don't know what it's called, Prismites, they do actually get consumed, which is good. So now we're just waiting for the next big wave to come in before we pop all the ultimates. Let's go. And I'm gonna see the knockback for Rosalia coming in play here. It is pretty annoying because what happens is sometimes you get units not attacking because they are not in range. So let's see how that works out for us. Right, there we go. Rosalia popping her ultimate there. And I think now we can actually go ahead to put down Cyrus. His skeleton stacks will help as well to build out Azeroth's Darkspawn stacks. And now we just wait in terms of just cycling ultimates back and forth, getting all these units killed out. It's pretty straightforward from here. As long as we can kill this AoE guys in time, we should be able to survive. Go. Get some knockback from Rosalia again. Yeah, team does pretty decent. We are running no anti-heal here as well, so with all that considered, it still does pretty well. We're at almost 2/3 through the entire run. Most of these guys are already dead. And now we're just clearing out what's remaining. So definitely a lot of potential here. But I would say that Rosalia's ultimate is a bit annoying because we can see right here they're getting pushed way out of range here. But she's gonna be definitely interesting in GVG in terms of crowd control, with the knockbacks and everything. So she can't knock back air units, but with the ground units, yeah. This knockback is gonna be doing lots of work. I'm just finishing up here basically. The last few mobs. We might want to despawn Cyrus just so that these guys can come closer. Go. It's taking very long because we have no anti-heal, and Rosalia keeps knocking them back into the heal range as well, and yeah, that just prolongs their life here. Maybe it's a good idea to put Cyrus back down again. This match dies there. Put him down again. Yeah, Rosalia is really very counterintuitive here in terms of, you know, doing damage here. She just winds up getting this guy all healed again. Now we'll put Prismatch down here again. Hopefully he survives. We had already 2 mobs licking through, but yeah. I think that's where we see that Rosalia might not be too great. With the knockbacks here, as it results in the units getting healed. If let's say we put in an anti-healer here, it's gonna be the same outcome because they're gonna be pushed out of range anyways. And then now we have put down the rest of the units already. We are gonna be able to kill off the boss because he won't be able to heal himself anymore. Yeah, that's basically the run, at least for gear rate 124. And I'm very interested to see damage here now.
Hardly a masterpiece, but she'll do.
Alright, not too shabby, considering that Azurath has execution. Rosalia is falling a bit short with the multipliers, but yeah, Valara obviously at A1 doing great work here. Pia is at A0, so not too shabby. Considering that with just 4 DPS, we did manage to clear out, this entire run. I would say that maybe Rosalia's ultimate timing needs to be much better. So maybe you knock back after the heal has been placed at the front of those guys, instead of pushing them back and letting the boss heal them indefinitely, which does inflate the numbers that we see here. But at A0, I am pretty impressed with what we're seeing here. And gear is not super crazy as well. It's just your standard Soba Arcana or Infernal Rod on Pier with some quads on the left side. So nothing too crazy here, here as well. And both are at A0. So it is going to unlock a lot more options when it comes to, how much damage we can do. And I think Rosalia is going to be pretty decent in Conqueror's Codex as well. Because we do have a Countess meta right now. So yeah, those are just some of the things that I've thought about so far after doing this run. So now let's move on to the other content and see how they fare there. Alright, so one of the areas that I was really interested to try out Rosalia in is actually the new, is actually in a Countess team with Verlis as well as Azarath, and then Catgrim as the tank, because right now those two teams, Verlis does do quite a bit of control in the sense that she does do some stuns, but I think that combined with Rosalia's knockback, we could be seeing a pretty nasty team. So I'm gonna get it, show the classic attacks with the new Demon Captain, where this one gives magic damage reduction across the board. So yeah, we do have a A2 Eova affiliated, I think. It is not the crazy high BP, but I just want to feature the knockback and all that to see whether it's worth it, because Rosalia's knockback can be pretty nasty. 1 every 5 seconds, and then there's Winter's Bite and all that in the mix of it as well. So let's get into it without further ado. Now the way that I've done this rotations with the new Demon Captain is that I normally place her first, because she just pretty much soaks up most of the damage. I don't think any team can actually kill her right now. You can see this is the Winter's Bite and this is the Burning, and then the yellow one on the last tile, that's the one where she does increase damage. And the unfortunate thing is in this map we don't actually get all 3 tiles used, but 2 tiles alone is pretty decent. Alright, we're gonna put the Octopus in now. So there's that. And once we have that in, let's do that guy. And then when these guys all come in with their ultimates, I'm actually gonna pop the Captain's ultimate just to get some damage going. I can see even with all that, the Grotesque Fiend is actually taking quite a big chunk of damage. I'm gonna put the Poke in. See if you can actually get it in time. You can see the knockback in play there. It basically makes sure that during her ultimate, nothing can actually come through at all. It's pretty disgusting. Now this may not be the best like rotation, maybe that's why this team works, but just from the knockbacks alone, I am pretty stoked at what she can do. Drop the ultimate there. And yeah, you can see the knockback coming here again. And during the ultimate, he's just gonna keep getting knocked back. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that he can do about it. The only issue I have with this is that Rosalia's uptime is pretty low. So you can see that after that is done, then yeah, you can kill it. But if let's say we change the placements or playstyle a bit, maybe things would be different. But yeah, that's a quick GVG showcase. We could try things like flyers as well to see how they fare here. Because I honestly have not tried it too. Maybe instead of that, we do... Okay, so there's another method where we rush wolves with the new captain. Maybe we can try that. See if Rosalia actually slows them down. Actually, Verlis will do that alone already, so that's not really an option. So let's try the flyer route. Do level 9 flyers to compensate for my crappy BP. And let's do healers as well. Where can I get healers here? There we go. So Verlis and Rosalia, I think both hit air. I actually have no idea Rosalia hits air, so we're finding out now. Azurath doesn't. So let's see if this team will work out here. For sure the knockback doesn't work because I haven't seen any knockback to air units so far in all 3 years that I've been playing the game.
Break upon dwarven steel.
Flyers in. So the captain doesn't get knocked back obviously. Verlis gets another round of ultimate here. Pop the ultimate. What we can do here. It doesn't look like Rosalia actually hits. It's just Verlis doing all the work here. I'm not sure if the control even worked because I didn't see any Winter Spike there. So maybe a good way to test that out will be to actually deploy just the flyers. And that way we know for sure. So if let's say we quit now and we don't see Rosalia doing any damage, then we know for sure that she doesn't do anything. Or maybe even from this alone we can see it. Because this is the burning tile right now. If this unit start burning, see no burns. And then that's Verlis doing all the work.
My prayers will guide you.
And let's quit there. See if Rosalia hits air. No, she does not. Okay, that's interesting. Honestly, if I didn't go ahead to test that, I would not have uncovered the fact that she does not hit air at all. So maybe, I don't know, maybe this team might not be the best. Maybe there could be some tactic where air units fly through, but just from the ground perspective alone, I really like the knockback that she offers. But of course, I'm not a GVG expert, but I just think that this adds more versatility to the Cultist comms, which right now, you know, need a little bit of boost. And yeah, I think maybe Rosalia is the answer to all of that. So yeah. Alright, the next area that we're gonna test out Rosalia in is gonna be Matrix, obviously. This is where we really want her to shine, which I think she does. But I do want to say that I'm not a Matrix expert. I've not hidden the high scores. I've barely scraped past 160k, actually credits to Destin for his guides for Matrix. So I don't want to say that I do fall short of my own expectations as well. Before we start off this segment, because I think that this team can push Matrix scores a lot higher. It's just that I don't know how to actually get there. But yeah, that's basically it. Let's get in. And This is a full A5 team, so we're gonna try to see how easy it is to actually get to the higher scores. I think right now the highest score is like 125k. This team can probably do that. It's just that I'm too lousy at the game and don't really know how to get there. Alright, so we're gonna put, let's see, Magda first. And then let's do, who else here? I think the top damage dealers are probably gonna be Ingrid here. And you're gonna see that I put her right beside Magda. And then after that, we're gonna do Azeroth on the corner here. And inspiration. No, wait, we'll do this first. And another inspiration cast. And we're gonna save this space for Rosalia. So we're gonna do Valara here. Demi. And then let's do Wukong last but not least over there. And then we'll wait. Because Rosalia's A1 gives her a damage boost for about 20 seconds. So we're gonna maximize that for the first ever deployment by, you know, having her only go down just before Pact of Silence starts. And now we wait. The same timings as Destin, midway through the second Decay Overflow, we're gonna get the Magda ultimate going. And then when this Focus Strike comes through, we're gonna put down Rosalia first. And then we're gonna pop the ultimate on all of these units. There we go. We'll do Eloin's out as well. And then about 1/3 through the bar here, we're gonna cast Azeroth out to switch him back. And yeah, Ingrid Overload is lining up nicely here, that's good. There we go. And now we just wait. Switch back, we'll do the cleanse as well. The Ingrid's overload stacks, I think we should be good timing wise for now, for her to line up again nicely later. Alright, second overflow decay is gonna come out in a short bit here. Pop the Magda ultimate. And we can do the Rosalia ultimate whenever it's up because it lasts for a bit longer. We don't want to run into a later part of the mode where, you know, she doesn't get her ultimate back in time. Not gonna pop the rest. And Ingrid goes into overload. Very nice. And then now about 1/3 left to the bar on Pact of Silence. We're gonna switch Azeroth again. We can also do the Eloin cleanse here. There we go. I'm gonna switch Ingrid here to reset the timings. Hopefully that works out for us. So I honestly have no idea how that will line up later. Okay, switch Azeroth back. Now we're gonna get the Magda out. Pop that. Hopefully Ingrid's overload comes back in time and I didn't screw up with the timing there. Pop the ultimates here. Oh no, I think she's not gonna make it in time. I may have screwed up there with the bad timing. One more and she goes into overload. But yeah. Pact of Silence every second counts. So we are gonna fall a bit short there, but that's fine. Let's just see where we land with this timings. Because eventually the timings are gonna slow down again and then that might be the perfect timing we need for the later runs. Pop Narisa's out here because I forgot. Could do it after the first Decay Overflow. And then we can see Magda's ultimate is starting to fall a bit short in terms of timings. the ultimates there. I believe Ingrid... Oh, she is gonna be slow again. That's interesting. Right, there we go. This is where we can start to be a bit looser with the ultimates. So whenever we get it up, I think I'm just gonna proc the ultimates. I'm not gonna time it anymore. So that should come in nicely with the other bits as well. Here we go. All the ultimates out. And then we'll do the purge here. Now we just wait for the next wave. Or we proc this ultimates here again. I'm gonna do Azeroth as well. There we go. Just getting ultimates whenever we can now. Oops, Demi died there.
Nature is always right. Fear not, my friend.
And yeah, let's proc the ultimates here. See where we end on that. Not too bad. 104. A bit higher than what I have on my main account actually, but yeah, that's the showcase. Rosalia is doing a lot of good work, especially during that short pack of silence interval. I think her burst damage comes in very nicely there. You can see she's actually second in damage charts, and these units are all A5, which is why at the start I was a bit doubtful of whether we should buff Valara, because I think ideally these two units should be the ones getting the buff. But yeah, that's Rosalia in Matrix. I hope that gives you an idea of how good she is and what she can potentially do. Now let's move on to the other content. Alright, so we've come to the end of the video for Rosalia. It was a pretty interesting one. I do think that Rosalia is actually the much more promising unit between the two. It is once again another unit that is given a 10-second whooping attack interval, and somehow she still works pretty well, and she shines, especially during her ultimate. As you can see from the knockback there, the only time that I hated the knockback was really in Gear 1, where it kept knocking the units into the out of the attack range of every other unit, and then the boss was just healing them non-stop. That was freaking annoying. But I think there's a better way to play her there. I think I probably didn't do it correctly as I tried to rush all these videos out. But yeah, I think her kit is very interesting. I don't find that there was a lot of RNG issues. I do find that it is like all syncing up pretty well in terms of when it's doing burning, when it's boosting damage, and I do see that when Winter's Bite is active on that tile, the Winter's Bite does actually proc, so it is sufficient. Because you have to bear in mind that she also has like Immobilize and Slow from her artifact, so there's a lot of control in her kit to help her to get to, you know, proccing all these effects to great succession. And then if let's say we talk about Matrix alone, she does scale up with this 30% attack pretty quickly because during her ultimate, every swipe that she does is quite a bit of burst damage. And if let's say we look at attack interval here with a quad max build, it's at 4.6 seconds. So during Pact of Silence, if you time it well, you can get about 3 hits in, which could be pretty huge. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about when it comes to Rosalia. The good thing here is that from the rumors, she's likely gonna be non-limited, so we will be able to summon her whenever we want to. And yeah, I just like her kit. I also like the fact that her bond skill isn't actually particularly great. It's giving rage regen. I haven't found any use cases where the A5 actually worked well. I mean, you do get the 5% damage on the first deployment, but you ideally want to get that 15%. But at this very juncture, when I tried it in Matrix, Matrix has a 100% extra penalty on respawn times, so this does not work well there. A3 definitely is a good one, and A1 as well to make A3 worthwhile. But yeah, I think Rosalia is probably the more promising unit out of the two. I really like the knockback in her kit. I do also want to try her out in Conqueror's Codex, but unfortunately Codex is closed at the moment. That's another area where I think she could be really insane there, especially with the knockback and damage, and the fact that her tiles will probably cover the entire waves at the front, you know, where the mobs are walking in. I think that's where she's going to really shine as well, coupled with the fact that Azeroth is already a pretty popular unit in Conqueror's Codex right now. So yeah, that's it for the video. Let me know if there was anything that I missed out on Rosalia, whether there was any content that she could perform well in that I missed. I did try her in Gear Dungeon, but her rage regen is really slow, so Gear Dungeon 1 is out of the way, and then in Gear Dungeon 2 you don't really need AoE magic damage, so that's out of the way as well. But yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like or subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.